Welcome to Bill's Campday Recap. I'm Thad Brown along with AJ Feldman. We will be doing this show, this podcast, wherever you're listening or watching, all throughout training camp. Back at Fisher for the first time in 3 years. Every single time the Bills are out here, whether the fans are here or not, we will be here. We'll have a full recap of everything that goes on, everything that's said, all the big stories, the analysis, what we thought from practice. As is usual for day one of a training camp, there was a glutton of news. And I think the number one story is Jordan Poyer, who spoke to the media for the first time since skipping out on most of the offseason program due to a contract dispute. And AJ, although it was great to hear from Jordan, and I think, you got a sense that there's no problem here. There's no angst. There's a negotiation going on. Both Jordan Poyer and Brandon Beane talked about how Drew Rosenhaus, Poyer's agent, was at practice today. But we really didn't get much information beyond that. There wasn't a deal as close. There wasn't even Poyer saying that he wanted to be in Buffalo for the rest of his career. It was just kind of, it's going on. We're cool. I'm going to play, and I'm going to let my agent take care of it.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the big takeaway as well. Not that we were expecting confrontational or anything like that, but there was really nothing like that. I think a reporter asked Jordan Poyer, so why are you looking for a new contract? And he's like, well, I think you know why, because I'm a little underpaid right now and I've been playing really well. So it was kind of nothing really needed to be said because what we all know is going on is what's going on. So I don't think this will be a problem going forward. I think that, Jordan Poyer said he was optimistic that the deal is going to get done. And, certainly it's high number one on Brandon Beane's priority list, number one. And it seems like that they're working together to try and get this done. I'm just excited to be back out here playing football again with my teammates. It's been a journey, but I'm here right now. I'm excited, like I said, to play football and to continue to get better.
While Poyer said he's been motivated by the naysayers bringing up his age, he also showed that comes with perspective, discussing his family and later referencing his sobriety when asked about his desire to both stay in Buffalo and get the contract he deserves.
I love the city. I love these fans. This is my 6th year out here. I really feel part of this community. I do a lot of stuff in the community. A lot of people out here obviously know my story and what I've gone through in order to really be just sitting right here in this seat right here, and it's really special. And you ask how I balance it. I just try to enjoy every single day. This, like I said, it could be gone tomorrow. You never know.
And I think, Jordan Poyer talked about how he's been reading about people talking about his age, whether or not I can keep it going, but kind of along those same lines, he had a really good perspective about just being this far in his career, enjoying every moment, enjoying training camp. He had some good quotes about, talking to his daughter about going away to training camp, how she can finally appreciate that. So a really, introspective at times, Jordan Poyer, and it seems like he's in the right frame of mind. He's talked about his conditioning, so I think if anybody had any questions that this would be a problem going forward, I think those, by the tone of the voice, were kind of laid to rest a little bit today.
Yeah, I think the reaction from Poyer today is certainly for 2022. He's dialed in. He talked multiple times about hearing people talk about how old he is, and F them was, I think, one of the words he used at one point. So I think it'll be good for this year, but my take on Poyer has been, I think the Bills let him play out the last year of his contract and then let him go somewhere else to find that big money. I heard nothing today that dissuaded me from that. I'm not 100% on that take, maybe 65-35, but I don't think there was anything here. And you talked about Poyer being introspective, about thinking about, this could be done, this could be changed at any time. I think he understands there's a real possibility this might be his last year in Buffalo. Like we said, not the only news today. As expected, we got an update on Trey White. Also, as expected, he will begin this camp on the PUP list. The surprise, though, Rodger Saffold had a rim injury from a car accident that he was in about a couple weeks ago. AJ, both guys were out on the field today, at least looked visually, not participating, but visually looked okay. Doesn't seem like the Saffold injury will be that serious. White, of course, up in the air.
Yeah, and with Saffold, last year the big thing with the offensive line was the continuity. They were going to think that they're going to run back the same five. They're changing it up a little bit this year, and Saffold being out with the rib injury certainly hampers things a little bit. Spencer Brown, he missed off-season workouts. He's still not 100% yet, so you talk about continuity. That's not going to be something they have. We'll see how quickly that gets continuity back, but certainly something to keep an eye on moving forward.
As for Trey White, the Bills talked today about him still being on schedule. and then wouldn't go into detail about what exactly that meant. And Brandon Beane talked a little bit about how different guys heal at different rates. And I don't think anyone is discouraged. Brandon Beane said there were no setbacks specifically with Trey White, but there's no doubt that when Trey White will play this season is still something the Bills don't really know.
He's on schedule with what the trainers are telling me is on schedule. I think he's got a great look in his eye. I know what he's working back towards, and really other than that, that's all I can say.
Trey's doing really well for where he's at. We're also trying to protect Trey. Trey's dying to get back out there. He's a competitor, and so we're not going to put him out there till we're ready and he's ready, and open dialogue, between our medical staff and me, Trey, and Sean.
Day one of practice, and at the beginning of training camp, you often hear things about the defense being ahead of the offense. It's easier to get a defense ready than getting an offense going, and well, the Bills looked that way today. The offense was not good. I mean, the first couple 7-on-7 and team drills, I'm not sure if I saw more than 1 or 2 passes completed. Case Keenum in particular, I thought, had a pretty down day. First pass, I saw him throwing 7-on-7. He dropped back, looked totally uncomfortable, and then threw a ball about 6 yards behind Tommy Sweeney. He had an interception to Tim Settle, the only interception of the day. It was ugly. Keenum basically threw it right into his chest. Josh Allen even wasn't way better than Keenum, but still not a good day for him. So, not a surprise. Again, it's going to take everybody a little while to get going in camp, but just definitely not a good day for the offense.
Yeah, and you talk about the Tim Settle interception. We talked to Sean McDermott before, I believe it was, where, the crowd just gets everybody into it. And that certainly got a rise out of the crowd, the defense as well. Anytime, you get a big man interception, stuff like that. But, you mentioned the offense struggled a little bit. They're in the red zone as well. So, a new offense, a new everything, tighter space. So, it's to be expected. Some of the things I thought that stood out, Khalil Shakir, I thought had a really nice day. He made a couple nice catches, one in the back of the end zone, one a sliding catch along the sidelines. And, the slot position is clearly, obviously, one of the training camp battles we're watching. Is Khalil Shakir going to be the day one guy? Probably not. You've got Isaiah McKenzie, Tavon Austin, Jamison Crowder. But certainly he showed some of those flashes why when the Bills got Khalil Shakir as late as they did, people were very excited, jealous. How did this happen to the Bills? And I think you saw a little bit of that today.
Dawson Knox had a pretty darn bad practice as well. Couple drops. One was a nice play where Terrell Bernard really ripped the ball out of Knox's arms, but 2 drops for Knox. This is, circa 2019 Dawson Knox we saw today. On the flip side, I like Terrell Edmonds. Had a really nice pass breakup on a throw from Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs. And Edmonds was like lightning getting into the pass lane. Allen, by the way, later on in practice, hooked up with Gabriel Davis back at the end zone. It's the kind of throw you've seen 100 times, but it was also one of those throws where it had to be in a perfect spot. It was. Allen was falling back when he threw it. So, there were the highlights from a team we expect to make a Super Bowl run this year, but not an A1 practice by any stretch. Now, as you might expect, with the Bills being one of the few teams that have began practice, they're early because they play that Thursday night opener. There were more than a few national writers and media members in town today. Got a chance to catch up with one of the legends, Peter King, to talk about his take on this Buffalo Bills season. I'm joined by Peter King, one of the legends in the NFL industry, of course, currently with NBC Sports, and Peter's here in Fisher seeing day one of Bills camp. And, Peter, right off the bat, this Bills team is the favorite in the NFL to be the Super Bowl champ. Over the years, how have you seen teams deal with that? And if you had advice for handling that role, what would you say to Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane?
Try to shut it out as much as you can. And McDermott told me that he hasn't seen any evidence of, it affecting his team at all. But, it's July, whatever it is. It's pretty early. And I think the danger is a strong word. The danger a little bit is basically having this attitude from every fan who comes out to training camp and every fan who loves the Bills. Super Bowl or bust. And, because honestly, right now, if I told you that the Buffalo Bills would make it to the Super Bowl but lose, I guarantee you Western New York would be really, really upset and would not feel great. Now, most teams, hey, you want to make it to the Super Bowl even if you lose? Heck yes. But it's just not the case. And so that, I'm not saying that pressure really is debilitating, but it'll be interesting to see how it happens during the course of the year. What happens if the Bills have a 2-game losing streak at some point? or maybe lose a game or two that everybody said, oh my God, how did we lose this? Those are the things that you just don't know how they'll handle it until it happens. But I will just say this, that my feeling is Josh Allen has become one of those guys who you can put an awful lot on his shoulders, and he always really handles it well. So I think he is a perfect guy, a Mahomes-ish guy, a Brady-type guy to handle the weight of great expectations.
I wanted to ask about Josh Allen too. He has ascended every single year he's been in the league, and like you said, one of the top, 2 or 3 or 4 guys at worst. What is the scenario, and how likely is it to where we get to a point where Josh Allen is the unquestioned number 1 quarterback in the NFL?
Yeah, there are so many great ones now. This is the golden age of quarterbacks. It's a better period for quarterbacks than at any time in NFL history, and I would argue with anybody about that. So, in many ways, picking the best quarterback is a lot like picking, your favorite ice cream or something like that, or the cut of steak that you like. I mean, shoot, I like about 10 ice creams or 15, and it's the same thing with quarterbacks. Like, Kyler Murray signs this ridiculous contract, and I think to myself, well, geez, a lot of money for a guy who isn't a top 5 quarterback. But on a given Sunday, and on several given Sundays, he has been a top 5 quarterback. He just has to do it more consistently. I guess the way I would look at it is, if I were the Bills, I would want to take a little bit of the running away, because I want him here for the next 15 years, not the next 9. And so to me, I look at Josh Allen and I look at a guy who does everything well, who played, he's like a starting pitcher in baseball who throws a perfect game. He threw a perfect game against the New England Patriots, and he threw a complete game 2-hitter against Kansas City, but life sometimes intercedes with bitterness. But I guess I would just say, I think it's going to be hard for any quarterback to be able to say absolutely with finality, he's the best guy, because there are so many great ones.
Last thing for you, I know you've been going on camp tours for a long, long time and coming here to Pittsford a long time. The Bills are back here for the first time in 3 years. We in Rochester are very excited. As someone who's been here quite a bit, what are the things you look forward to when you've come to camp here at Fisher?
The Pittsford Dairy Barn. I mean, come on. Listen, there aren't many places where I'd drive a long way to get a milkshake, but that place is one of them. But you know what it is? I really like about Pittsford. It's Americana. It's just a lovely little town, and the people are unfailingly nice. I bet I've written for 10 hours in that Starbucks in the center of Pittsford, and everybody is always so friendly and pleasant. It's just one of the reasons why, like, my favorite part of my job is my training camp tour. And one of the reasons is you get to go around and see different places in the country that everybody said, oh, you're going to Pittsford, New York? What the heck is there? I said, it's a great place. It just really is. And so I look forward not necessarily to going to the biggest cities or do all those things. I look forward to coming to places like here, going to Latrobe, where the Steelers train, and going to a bunch of towns like that. That to me, it's really terrible that training camps going away are vanishing, because it's so good. It's even though the Bills are only here for 2 weeks, it's really, really good for a team because you're together the whole time. It's not like, in some training camps, guys go home at 9:30 at night or whatever. They sleep in their own bed or whatever. And it's just, now, or a lot of them go stay at a Holiday Inn or whatever. But there's something about being back with your guys. And I think I don't know that it'll necessarily win a game for him, but I just think it pays dividends in terms of team bonding, team chemistry.
You know, this is a guy who's been to Rochester a lot. When he goes to Pittsford Dairy is the thing to see here in Rochester without even thinking. Peter King from NBC Sports, thanks very much for joining us.
Hey, you're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, great conversation there with Peter. And he mentioned about the quarterbacks, like it was like picking your favorite ice cream flavor with Josh Allen. He did say what he gets at Pittsford Dairy, went with a black raspberry milkshake. So as much as he said, you can't really decide. Apparently that's where he did. Yeah, I asked him that after the fact. I was wondering if he was going to actually have an answer. But, great to talk to Peter King there. And yeah, just, good to have him back at training camp today. Good to have everybody back at training camp. It's been a while, obviously, 2019, the last time they've been back. So, this is actually my second time technically at training camp. I got here to Channel 8 in 2020, but I did intern here in 2017. It was a whole different vibe at training camp. No Josh Allen. I remember we were talking to Nathan Peterman. So those were the days.
Wow.
A little bit different.
Singe the ears, every Bills fan listening to this thing.
Certainly. But no, just to get the fans and, kind of remembering back to what it was. You've got the stars here, I think was the big takeaway. Last year, last Fisher camp, Josh Allen's Josh Allen, of course, but you got guys screaming out for Stephon Diggs, Diggs, come on, Von Miller, Josh Allen, and just the star power that this team has now, the interaction with the fans. I think, that's something that, these players really enjoyed today. I think they took a lot of enjoyment out of interacting with the kids today.
Yeah, I would agree too. It was nice to have everybody back. It was good, someone who grew up in Rochester, to see this town kind of be the center for everybody again, at least, for the next 3 weeks, to see all the fans show up, to see the vibe, feel the vibe. Camp actually practice got cut short a little bit today because of some fear of some rain. Didn't really ever rain that bad, but you can understand why they wanted to stop it early. So it was fun. It was great. It was refreshing. It felt normal. And I think for all those reasons, it's been good for everybody. And every single person I talked to in the Bills organization, everybody was happy to be back here. They all talked about different things. The players talked about turkey burgers. That was the thing they loved today. I'm going to hear from them in a second on that. But it was definitely a overall positive step for the Bills to be back at Fisher.
Yeah, and we mentioned these stars. I think they do really are cognizant of the fact that they are, these superheroes in these kids' eyes. So to take, Josh Allen, he can't sign for everybody. He'd be here he'd be still here right now. But he mentioned, if he can wave, if he can, give a wave, a shake, or whatever. They understand the buzz around this team, the impact this team has on Buffalo, Western New York, and they certainly made it known that they just love interacting with the fans here today.
I love it. I love going to camp. All last night. We've got TBT after this. It's turkey burger time. They got the best turkey burgers here. Put a little jalapenos on them. That's the main reason I like coming here. But again, the camaraderie that you get to build, you spend every waking second with your teammates. And again, all you get to focus on is football here, which is a blessing for me because I love this game so much, and I think that, again, I just try to be as fun and as vibrant as I can because some guys don't like it. So I try to bring them up to speed with me, and that comes with the territory of my job. But I do absolutely, genuinely love camp because I love spending time with the guys.
This college environment, this college atmosphere is really where I flourish. I started at Texas A&M. We were in dorms just like this for training camp, and that's where you pull all the guys together. That's where you earn the respect and the trust of your teammates, and I'm all for it. But again, I'm 33 years old, and toilet paper's different. The beds are different. It's no TV in the dorm room. It's a little bit different. Gotta make up your bed and change it and do all that type of stuff every day. It takes some getting used to, but I'm all for it.
Getting away allows us a chance to come together as a team, spend some time together, maybe after meetings, before practice, get guys hanging out a little bit more where they can develop those bonds that'll bind us during the year when it gets tough.
And Josh Allen, Brandon Beat, it was certainly known, and anybody in Rochester who tried to get tickets knew the hassle that getting these tickets were. People were dying to come back to Fisher, and certainly they came out in droves today for day one of training camp.
And like AJ said, it is just day one. It is also day one of this broadcast. Again, we'll be doing Buffalo Campday Recap every single day the Bills have a practice here at St. John Fisher. That means Tomorrow morning, we're going to do it all over again. Practice number 2 on Monday. Tomorrow, we're going to try and talk with O.J. Howard, Bills tight end, about his acclimation here to Buffalo and what his role might be in this fantastic offense. For A.J. Feldman, I'm Thad Brown. Thanks for watching and listening to Buffalo Camp Day Recap.